Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to show you 25 ways to destroy muscle building and how to fix them. Before I get started, if you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram at BenTheBarman, link down below. All right, guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of get negative. I'm going to get really negative. I'm going to show you how we can get negative, how we can focus on the negative, turn those negatives on their head, and figure out positive ways or positive steps forward to building muscle. Now, many of you are confused about building muscle. What do I need? What does it take? What are the steps? What am I missing? One of the best ways to problem solve is to look at problems. What will prevent us from building muscle? Instead of trying to figure out how to build muscle, what we're going to look at are the problems. What will prevent us from building muscle? Once we establish those problems, then we're going to flip that on its head and we're going to turn those into solutions. So, without further ado, let's look at 25 ways to destroy muscle building. We'll look at these and then we'll turn them over. We'll turn them into actionable steps that will help us build muscle and stay focused. All right, number one, not working hard or poor set quality. This is an easy fix. You can go into the gym, not take your sets seriously, not really focus on the set quality, just kind of go in and chase numbers, write your numbers down in the logbook, not focus on getting everything you can out of a set. So that's a negative. That's how you would destroy muscle building. Turn that on its head. What can we do? We can go into the gym and try to get everything out of a set we can. We can try to make every rep count. We can try to control the weight. Our goal can be to make this set count, to get the most we can out of this set, whatever that means in the context of that given exercise. By doing this, by improving set quality, if you maximize every set, you're going to maximize every workout. You maximize every workout, you're going to maximize your progress. All right, number two, frequently changing programs. Frequently changing programs is a huge issue, the program hopping, jumping from one program to another. It's like walking into a fast food restaurant or a store, a grocery store, and looking at all the junk food. You just kind of pick what you want to do that day. It's like instant gratification, right? You're like, what do I want today? The flaming hot chips, right? Or do I want the chili Doritos? Instead of chasing programs, the best way to move forward is to pick a program and then evolve that program based on needs over time. So if something isn't working or you don't like an aspect of that program, simply change it or evolve it rather than jumping onto a new program. You see a lot of guys that'll try a program they find on the internet, and then one or two aspects of the program they don't like. So what do? They toss it aside instead of just changing the things that they don't like about the program. Like somehow, if you don't stick to the program 100% as written, you're a failure. Number three, inconsistent protein and calories, a big one. If you don't take nutrition seriously, you're really not taking training seriously. So if you really want to destroy muscle building, have inconsistent nutrition, have inconsistent protein intake. Don't take these seriously. Just kind of eat whatever you want on any given day. Now to fix that, turn that on its head. To build muscle, we want to have a reasonable degree of consistency when it comes to calorie intake and protein intake. We don't have to necessarily weigh everything. We don't need to go into OCD land. We don't need to weigh things on a food scale, but we need to have a reasonable some kind of reasonable consistency day in and day out, having some sort of a meal structure, knowing kind of what you're going to eat during those meals, having some meal options so you can be assured that your calorie intake is pretty much on track, pretty much even day in and day out. All right, number 4, inconsistent training. This is an absolute huge one. Back in the day when I started the Muscle and Brawn Forum, I would see guys that would go hard for 3, 4, 5 months. They were all in. They were very, very motivated. And then all of a sudden, one day on the forum, they were just gone and you wouldn't see them for a month or 2 months or 3 months. Next thing you know, they're back and they're super motivated again and they're training hard and they'll tell you, hey, I got off track for a while. This happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. Inconsistent training is a killer of progress. Now, most of us are very serious about fitness. We're very serious about muscle building. We're very serious about strength building. What we have to do is find a way to bridge the gaps, to not let inconsistent training in. During those periods in life when things get rough, when we have challenges, work stress or personal stress, we have to learn how to kind of move our training down a notch just to bridge the gaps, to maybe only train 2 or 3 times a week, to maybe take sets per exercise down to 2 or even 1 on tough days. Making simple adjustments to get us over the hard times is essential to building a great body in the long run. Not every season in life, not every season in training is going to be 100% quality. You need to learn how to bridge the gaps between those seasons so you're not missing big blocks of training at a time. All right, number 5, poor exercise form, no control over the weight. You can kind of see this when you go into the gym. Well, obviously, it's pretty easy to see when you, or pretty easy to notice when you're watching somebody squat and deadlift. Most of us can understand when a squat is super high or really ugly looking, or when a deadlift is like a cat back deadlift. But there are other things that indicate bad form or poor form, like folks that are in the gym just trying to knock out reps and they have no control over the weight. They're not controlling it up on lat pull downs. We don't have to do slow reps, right? We don't have to get into time under tension stuff. But when you look at somebody that is training hard, are they using proper form? Do they have an understanding of proper form? On seated cable rows, are they just kind of rocking all over the place? Or are they very meticulous about their form? Does their form look super regulated, super focused, and super dialed in? If you want to have the best possible results, you have to spend some time for each exercise on YouTube, just looking at form, just trying to figure out what is right form, what is bad form. Study form videos. If you are serious about lifting, you need to get serious about studying form on every exercise you do. When I'm working with my clients, I want to see over time a video of every exercise they do, because I can help them dial in their curls a little bit better. I can help them dial in their seated cable rows a little bit better. And of course, we're going to help them dial in the bigger lifts. Now, next, you have the problem of worrying about overtraining so much that we actually kind of undertrain. There's kind of a tendency to be worried about overtraining. So some guys will tend to gravitate towards milder forms of training. They're really hesitant to go super insane, super crazy, super aggressive. And I'm not talking about injuring yourself or doing circus acts in the gym. There's a difference between pushing yourself and trying to improve your work capacity, trying to improve your overall conditioning so you can do more in the gym, and being kind of a wimp, kind of not pushing the volume, not pushing sets hard because you're worried about overtraining. So you're so worried about overtraining that you end up undertraining, or you're in the gym just kind of moving weight, never really progressing, never really attacking, and never really getting much done. Now, number 7, if you want to ruin muscle building, just get involved with fat bulking. This is something I talked about yesterday on Instagram. If you do very aggressive bulks, there's really no benefit. It's just going to be a fat gain program. Now, if you combine that with training that isn't exactly up to speed, what you're going to get is just an aggressive fat gain program. One of the downsides of doing a fat bulk is that eventually it's going to require you to do an extended cut to get that blubber off, to get that fat off. So the longer you're in a cut, the less time during a year you're actually building muscle. So by doing a lean, controlled, steady bulk where we're not doing a fat bulk, it's going to keep you in the bulking stage. It's going to keep you in a calorie surplus a lot longer during the course of a year. And then when you do need to cut, when you do need to do a brief cutting diet, it's only going to be 3 or 4 weeks. And then you're back onto a 4, 5, or 6 month bulk. And you can be bulking most of the year. You can be building most of the year. All right, number 8, not taking injury prevention seriously. What do I mean by this? Well, you're not taking your form seriously enough on the big lifts, squats, deads, RDLs, that sort of thing. You need to, as a foundation, take your exercise form seriously on the big lifts. If not, over time, they're just going to beat you up and you're going to get nothing out of them. You're going to get very little out of them. Plus, we have issues like elbow tendonitis. Some of you are so obsessed with grip strength that you don't or won't use grip support, and this is going to end up resulting in very likely picking up elbow tendonitis, which is one of the most common lifting injuries from overgripping. Tennis, they have tennis elbow from overgripping the racket. Golf, they have golfer's elbow from overgripping their clubs. And you're going to get the same thing on your back work and your deadlifts. All that grip work is going to contribute to elbow tendonitis. And over time, it is going to feel horrible. So take your form seriously on the big lifts. Get some VersaGrip Pros or at the worst, lifting straps and help fight off things like elbow tendonitis. All right, number 9, self-doubt or self-limiting attitude or behavior. Like, I don't have what it takes, or this is too hard. I don't think I can do it. I'm never going to be like so-and-so. Sometimes we can spend so much time comparing ourselves to other lifters on the internet that we can kind of create this, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to get there. And what this does is kind of hold us back from attacking the next step. You need to be in the mindset where you set aside everything you see on social media. One of the fastest ways, one of the best ways to assure progress and assure quality results is ignoring all the noise and simply attacking that next step. We have to become masters of our own mind, masters of our own destiny. We can't create these self-fulfilling negative prophecies that I'll never get to some arbitrary standard. Set that stuff aside. Stop thinking about these specific standards, these specific things that other lifters are doing. It's not that you can't have goals, but you need to focus on the next step, the next set, maximizing the next set. I guarantee if that is your mindset, if you're going in trying to maximize the sets and maximize the workouts, you're going to make good, consistent progress, especially when you combine that with rock solid exercise form. All right, number 10, don't take sleep seriously. This is a big one. I see this a lot especially with some of the younger guys. Now, if you're older and you have kids and you have a stressful job, not a lot you can do about it. But at the end of the day, if your sleep sucks, you need to take self-inventory. What can I improve? What can I work on? What can I do to maximize recovery? Recovery will only help. You are training hard in the gym. You need to take sleep seriously to a reasonable degree. Have a consistent time when you go to bed. Have a consistent time when you get up. When you go to bed, shut off your phone. Try to have routines and habits that allow you to maximize sleep. Now, I understand stress is a big thing, and a lot of you like to stay up later and play video games or do the Netflix and chill or whatever you're doing. But staying up later is not the way forward. You have to be consistent with your sleep if you want to be consistent with the muscle building process. If you don't take sleep seriously, if you don't take recovery seriously, over time, it's going to wear you down. It's going to take you away from your workouts. You're going to tend to under recover, and that can lead to issues with your performance in the gym, with injuries, with all kinds of things. So get your head out of your ass and start taking your sleep seriously. Now, number 11, you can destroy muscle building by obsessing over optimal. What did he say is optimal? What did this channel say is optimal? What did this study say is optimal? I'm going to tell you what's optimal in the real world, in your training in the gym. You start with a reasonable program and you go into the gym and you see how that feels. And if there's a reasonable change to be made, you make it. You evolve your training based on needs. That is optimal. As long as you have a reasonable number of sets, you have a reasonable volume, you have a reasonable exercise selection, you're consistent, you're going to be fine. That is the lane of optimal. When you're in the gym and you're doing barbell rows for 8 reps and you don't like them, move them to 6, move them to 10. If you're moving something from point A to point B and both are reasonable, both are fairly normal and not radical, that's evolving your training based on needs. That's optimal. You're creating an optimal program for you. Let's say you don't like squats. Hey, but squats are optimal, right? Someone says squats are optimal. Understand that you could do leg presses, hack squats, leverage squats, lunges, leg extensions. As long as you have a good grouping of exercises, a reasonable grouping of exercises, optimal on paper doesn't matter. The same thing goes for obsession over splits. What split is optimal? Frequency is optimal. Is upper lower better than full body? Is full body better than upper lower? You need to flush this nonsense out of your brain. You need to flush this obsession about optimal out of your brain. Over time, it's not going to matter what frequency you use. Over time, it's not going to really matter what specific exercises you use. As long as you are training hard, you're consistent, you're reasonable with your exercise selection, reasonable with your rep range, reasonable with your diet, you're going to see good, solid progress. That is optimal. All right, number 12, how to destroy muscle building not using progressive overload. If you have a program, but you don't have some kind of overload indicator, progression indicator for each exercise, if you don't know when the trigger is to add weight, then you're not focusing on progressive overload. When it comes to muscle building, progressive overload is not simply chasing numbers for the sake of accumulating big strength numbers. It's trying to progress. It's trying to move forward. We focus on training hard. If you're training hard, the numbers are going to come. And when the numbers come, you also need to understand that when you hit your progression indicator, when it says it's time to move up in weight, you need to move up in weight. You cannot simply continue to use the same weight year in and year out and expect to build muscle. It does not work like that. Yes, you don't have to chase strength. You don't have to chase powerlifting strength, but you do have to train hard. And you can't simply get the 3 sets of 10 on dumbbell bench and say, that's it. I'm just going to train hard and continue at this weight and never move up in weight. And I'm just going to build muscle. No, you are not. The body is going to acclimate because you're stagnating. You're not pushing yourself. You pushed hard to get the 3 sets of 10 with 50s on dumbbell bench, but now you have to push harder. This involves hard training, trying for that 11th rep. We're not chasing strength, we're chasing progress. And if you're not making progress, if you're not chasing progressive overload in that type of manner, you are not going to build muscle. All right, number 13, following the fancy exercise variation of the day. This is kind of part and parcel of YouTube influencer fitness. They have to come up with something new, something fresh, something different, something that will catch your eyeball. So they come up with all these crazy exercise variations. Try this game-changing exercise. Try these 5 new exercises for chest and explode your gains. The reality of muscle building doesn't revolve around fancy new exercises. It's punch the clock. Punch the clock. Find exercises that work for you. Go in and train them hard over years. Over years, try to attack progressive overload using the exercises that treat your body good. And don't obsess about the fancy exercises of the day. If you want to try these exercises, occasionally to see if they have value, to see if one of them might be a good substitution or something to rotate in temporarily. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with playing around with new exercise variations. The problem we run into is when these influencers keep shoveling crap onto your plate, all these new exercises, and we start to think that the new exercises are somehow going to be a game changer. Let me tell you, an exercise does not matter. Most quality exercises are effective. If you're not making progress, it's not the exercises, it's you. It's your lack of consistency. It's your lack of consistent nutrition. It's your lack of effort, your lack of hard training. It's not one damn magical exercise. All right, number 14, setting unrealistic training splits. What do I mean by this? You feel so super motivated. You wake up, I'm super motivated guy, right? I'm super motivated. So I'm going to do a 5-day split. We're going to do a double split. We're going to train in the morning and the night, and that's going to be 10 workouts a day or 10 workouts a week, and I'm really going to get after it. You set this unrealistic kind of training split that you can't stick to. In the long run, we need to be realistic. In this season of my life, what can I do and stick to? Do I need a flexible schedule, training 3 days one week, maybe 4 the next? Maybe some weeks I can only do 2. Why are you trying to force yourself to train more when you're having a hard time sticking to a program with fewer days per week? It is better to set a realistic training schedule and kind of add workouts or reduce rest days or add more if you need to that given week or during that given season of your life than to just create this monster of a program that is super unrealistic and that you can't stick to. That will result in you getting frustrated and maybe setting aside training and becoming the Mr. Inconsistency that we talked about earlier. All right, number 15, ego lifting or too much low rep work. If you want to build muscle, you need a reasonable amount of volume. You need some good challenging sets. Trying to build strength or trying to ego lift by doing a lot of low rep heavy work is not the way forward. It's not even the best way to build strength for the average individual. To build strength, you need a muscle base. So even if your goal isn't strength, we want to get in there and build a muscle base. Try to avoid the ego lifting. Try to avoid excessive low rep sets. You can do them occasionally, but understand the downsides. If you do them randomly, you're going to encourage random injuries. Build strength with reasonable volume. Some lifters fall into the trap thinking that strength will automatically build muscle. So they'll kind of focus on the lower rep side of things, and they end up getting not enough volume, not enough exercise selection, and their training looks like crap. They do too much ego work, too much low rep work, and they're not challenging their work capacity enough. Work capacity is an important thing when it comes to the muscle building process. You don't have to do over volume. You don't have to do excessive amounts of volume, but you do need to challenge yourself with a reasonable amount of volume. This will help facilitate muscle building. All right, number 16, chasing trees instead of seeing the forest or following the advice of one YouTube channel. How many times have you went over to a YouTube channel and, hey, this guy's got a new YouTube video. I'm going to watch this. It looks like an interesting tip. And you watch it and you start to focus on like one small tree instead of seeing the bigger picture. Like someone might talk about the value of supersets, and you walk away and you're super focused on one small little tree instead of the bigger picture. Chasing trees and not looking at the forest is a good way to destroy the muscle building process. You always have to keep that bigger picture in mind, that bigger picture of having a reasonable exercise selection. Sometimes we can get caught up in a single exercise so much that we lose the big picture, or we can get caught up in a certain frequency that we lose the bigger picture. We can elevate smaller things, these trees, these individual principles or concepts or ideas. We can elevate them into the be all end all. We can try to make them as big as the forest itself. Like these are the bigger picture, when in reality, they can just play a minor role in the bigger picture. All right, number 17. If you want to fail or destroy muscle building, don't track your workouts. Don't have any idea what you did last time. That's a great way to destroy progress. If you want to improve progress, write down everything in pen and paper, log in on an app like Strong or Heavy. Go into every workout, have that phone handy. You must know what you did last time because we have to set the standard. This is what I did last time. I'm going to go in and work hard and I'm going to try and beat it. That mindset alone, trying to work hard, trying to have quality form, and trying to beat what you did last time is the way forward. In the massive iron world, we call this chasing plus ones. We're not chasing strength for strength's sake, but what we are doing is looking at what we did last time. We're trying to train hard. We're trying to do so with proper exercise form, and we're trying to plus one. We're trying to take one step forward over what we did last time on that same set. All right, now number 18 is super important, and you guys are going to have a tendency to look at it and just kind of brush it off as like, I have passion. If you want to destroy muscle building, you undervalue the supreme importance of passion. I've been in this game a long time. I've been in this industry a long time. And I can tell you those that are successful are passionate. They are driven. This is what's important more than really anything else. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, if you don't enjoy the process, if you don't just enjoy the process of going in and training hard, the results probably aren't going to come. Those that are passionate about hard training, those that just love hard training, that live for it, that just want to get into the gym and destroy their workouts. And I don't mean punish themselves, but it's like it's their obsession. They're just super passionate, super motivated to go in and see what they can do. These are the successful individuals, not the ones that are sitting trying to optimize everything and logically piece everything. There's nothing wrong with that. But you must have passion to be successful in this game. It is the top way. It is what is most important. You can't force passion. You can't necessarily manufacture passion. It's like being in love. Either you're in love or you're not in love. And if you're not in love, if you're not passionate, you're going to have to stand in front of the mirror and have a come to Jesus talk. What the hell am I doing? All right, number 19, waiting for a weight to feel lighter. You want to destroy muscle building? Just wait for that weight to feel lighter. I got news for you. Weight generally doesn't feel lighter. Sometimes it does, but generally it doesn't. If you're doing 70-pound dumbbell benches and you're waiting for it to feel lighter, I got news for you. It's still 140 pounds. That's still heavy-ass weight. If you're doing 275-pound squats and you're waiting for them to feel lighter, I got news for you. 275 pounds is heavy. When I was squatting with over 550, with over 600 pounds on my back multiple times a week, when I would warm up, I'll tell you what, 315 still felt heavy because it is heavy, and 365 felt heavy, and 405 felt heavy, even though I was squatting over 600. Weight can still feel heavy even when you are pretty darn strong because the weight is heavy. You need to stop focusing on how the weight feels. We're not in the gym to feel things, right? You need to focus on hard work. Okay, the weight feels heavy. I need to get that out of my head. I need to focus on form. I need to focus on attack. We don't worry about how a weight feels. We get in and take the next step because that is what the program is asking of us. If you focus on good form, if you train hard, the injury risk is minimal. You got to set aside how a weight feels and just get in and safely attack. All right, number 20, if you want to destroy muscle building, go ahead and blame genetics, right? Like somehow there's like perfect genetic people and near perfect genetic people, and then there's you. Like, this is a huge lie. Everyone is a huge, complex puzzle when it comes to genetics. Like me, for example, I have longer arms and shorter legs. So that's great for deadlifting, but my long biceps look like crap. I don't have great leverages on my biceps. So I'm a complex puzzle. You're a complex puzzle. My long arms facilitate a better deadlift, but they make me a lot weaker at curls than I would like. They make me a lot weaker at pull ups than I would like. To assume somehow that you have just poor genetics in every possible way is just idiotic. It's not true. It's a lie that you've created. It's some kind of self fabricated doom scenario where somehow the people that are successful have great genetics and everything is in place, and you have poor genetics and everything, all thousands and thousands of variables are subpar. The only thing that's subpar is your attitude. These people on top, it's not about genetics, it's about passion and making the most of what they have. If you want to fail at muscle building, focus on assuming you have poor genetics and making the least of what you have. All right, number 21, not tracking weight, measurements, and progress photos. Don't track anything, right? This is a great way to mess with your head. I'm not making progress. I get people that I'm working with every day that, like, I'm not making progress. And then when we look at the numbers, we look at the trajectory of the bench press, we look at the trajectory of weight or arm size, we see, yeah, you're making really good progress. Not tracking your measurements, your arm size flex, your leg size flex, not taking progress photos, we can kind of feel when we're in the gym that we're not making any progress at all. And this can really drag us down at times. By tracking, you're setting yourself up for success. You have numbers, you have data to rely on and not feelings. Data doesn't lie when it comes to arm measurements, when it comes to leg measurements, when it comes to progress photos. That stuff does not lie. There is no reason not to track. There is no reason not to measure. All right, number 22, letting a bad workout throw you off. I get this all the time in my DMs, or clients will come to me and they'll be frustrated they had a bad workout. And I will tell you, and I'm saying this politely, I do not fucking care. It's not that I don't care you had a bad workout. I feel bad that it went bad for you. But one bad workout doesn't mean anything when you look at a 10-year lifting career. They're going to happen. Your immune system's going to be fighting something you might not even know it that day. Your glycogen might be slightly low. Your electrolytes might be slightly low. You might be under on sodium. There's a lot of things that can impact a workout. Stress, sleep, all kinds of weird hormonal cycles. The body is super complex. So we do not worry about one workout. If you worry about one workout, like somehow I did something wrong, it can really drag you down. Do not let a bad workout throw you off. All right, number 23, worrying about one exercise rather than the cumulative impact on that body part or on that area. So we're going to worry just about squats, right? This is very common. We're going to worry just about squats when it comes to quad development. All these minimal types of programs for beginners, right, for novices that only focus on squats, like, this is ridiculous. The best way to hammer a muscle group is to put together a good group of exercises and focus on the cumulative impact of all those exercises. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. You can't rely on just one exercise. It doesn't matter how quality the exercise is. You can't just go in and squat and expect big quads. You need to be squatting. You need to back that up with like leg presses or hack squats or leverage squats. You need to back that up with maybe lunges or Bulgarian split squats or maybe leg extensions. You need a good group of exercises to attack from multiple ways, different variations. If you simply focus on one exercise, you're really shooting your gains in the foot. If you're in the gym and you're having a really hard time with one exercise, you need to kind of set that aside and view things from a bigger picture. What is the cumulative impact of what I'm doing having on my results? What am I doing to really attack the chest other than just bench press? Seeing the bigger picture, seeing all the exercises, seeing the whole picture. When you focus on that and not one exercise, you're setting yourself up for success. All right, number 24, if you go into the gym and you want to punish, right? Or you want to train for excitement. How many times somebody said, I don't find hypertrophy training, muscle building training exciting. It's boring. Or I want to try some new exercises. This is boring. Or my program is boring. I want to do something exciting, right? Usually muscle building training is boring. It's punch the clock. It's doing the same exercises day in and day out, year in, year out, progressively overloading. This isn't meant to imply you can never change program types. You can never try new exercises. Obviously, we know that's not the case. But the heart of muscle building is punch the clock. It's repetition. Just going into the gym and being bored and randomly trying to punish yourself or trying to get excitement out of adding some weird, crazy variable or some weird, crazy protocol. If you're not excited about just basic core muscle building training, if you're not passionate about just training your group of exercises hard on that given day, you might want to do a self-assessment, because you might want to add something outside of your hypertrophy training that satisfies this need or desire for excitement. I add ultra running. I add trail running. If I want excitement, I'll go out and do some random trail that day. But I know when it comes to muscle building, it's get in, it's have my core group of exercises, and it's train them hard. All right, finally, number 25, elevating an optional training tool into the Holy Grail. What do I mean by optional? When you look at the last 60, 70 years of muscle building, what are the core principles? Is everyone required to do supersets? Obviously, no. Is everyone required to do rest pause training? Obviously, no. When you look at different training styles and different training tools, we have to understand the difference between an optional training tool and something that is required to build muscle. What is required to build muscle? We just covered all that in this video. Training consistency, hard work, good quality exercise selection, form, all those kind of good things, right? Optional tools are like, what do I want to add in that kind of excites me, that I would like to train using this tool? Understand the difference between a training tool, an optional tool, and something that is required. If we take an optional tool, like someone will say, training to failure is the way, right? And you'll hear that on the internet from someone. And then all of a sudden we elevate training to failure as the only variable that matters. Or someone on the internet might say, rest pause is the way, and it's the thing that's missing from your training. So we'll elevate rest pause as the thing, the central thing, when it's just simply an optional training tool. Training tools can have value, obviously, when it comes to building muscle, if you like them, but we always have to remember the bigger picture when it comes to hypertrophy. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.